Welcome to Grawlix Nights, the Grawlix Podcast live show. I'm Randy.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Jesse.
Hey, what's everybody?
What is everybody?
What is everybody? What's up, everybody? How's it going tonight? We've got an exciting show.
Mm-hmm.
Sure is.
Starting this off right. I am excited. I could tell Jesse was excited for tonight's show. He made a post on Facebook about it. I was like, oh, Jesse's ready. He's ready to talk about it.
I'm ready. Crack the knuckles.
We'll be discussing Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire.
Which is such a generic title.
It's
A Child of Fire.
There is no fire. There's barely a child in it.
Yeah.
It's bad. The title alone should tell you. Part 2 is Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scar Giver.
That makes more sense.
Are they both the same person? Who is the child of fire?
I'm assuming I'm assuming she is. She is in like the main character.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know her name. I don't care.
No, I don't know if anyone knows her real name. They call her Cora, and
right.
then they change her
right.
name. There's just a scar giver. You got all the names. She's got every name, and I still don't know her. I don't think anyone does.
We're gonna review. This is gonna be a fair, unbiased review. No, what is an unbiased review? That's not a review then, huh?
No.
That'd be a summary if it was unbiased. But yeah, that's a little preview of how I think this review is gonna go.
A completely objective, factual retelling.
Right. But first, how are you two doing?
Okay.
Doing all right.
Good. Me too. Well, let's do it like we always do. Let's kill just a little bit of time up front, not too much time. First off, you guys been watching and consuming anything exciting other than Rebel Moon?
Not
Rebel
at
Moon's
all.
long. It probably took up a good chunk of your time
Oh.
you would otherwise.
Yeah. I had to watch it in at least 2 sittings, and one of my second sittings, I took a break in the middle.
Right. We did watch it in one sitting.
Kudos. Oh,
It gets long.
yeah.
We finished Doro Hidoro also, which is super weird, and I like it.
Yeah, it's great. That was it's an anime series. It's a Netflix anime series, but it's an anime series on Netflix from 2020, 2022 maybe. And there's only one season, so I'm like, well, this is probably got the Netflix treatment. One season, I hope it wraps up. It doesn't wrap up, but it was just announced earlier this month, or maybe last month, that it is still getting a second season, so that's good. But it's kind of bonkers.
Yeah,
It felt to me like it had kind of a 90s sensibility in that, I don't know, it's not like punk rock, but it's got like a almost MTV liquid television sensibility. It doesn't really look like that, but like the outfits are crazy. Like the main character guy has a lizard head because that's kind of like a plot point of the show, but most of the time he's wearing a gas mask. The people live in like this real rundown crappy city called The Hole, and then there's this whole thing with wizards, but they're more like demon worshipping. Like it's pretty wild, but also funny at the same time. Like it's got all this weird kind of like dark stuff and violent stuff, but it's also funny, and that's why I think it kind of has this. One of the characters is skateboarding around. It just felt very 90s to me.
Yeah. It took the first like 3 or 4 episodes before I even knew what the heck was going on. I was like, what? Who are these people attacking each other with? And why are they all wearing masks? Right. And why is this restaurant part of it? I just don't get it. But then, yeah, later I came to understand some of it.
The world of the show is just real bonkers. Like there's rules to it. It's like definitely its own kind of like universe thing going on, but it's very strange. Like randomly partway through the season, it's like, what was it? It's the night of the dead or night of the zombies or something, and like all of a sudden there's this like zombie episode in the middle of the show that otherwise doesn't mention zombies ever, and it's just fun. But
Yeah, it's like one night of the year the zombies come from the dead, and then everybody goes and beats them up and
yeah,
tries to
click
get
click
dead 'em
collect your
again.
tags from the zombies' heads, and you can get a prize at the end of the night or something like that. Yeah. And that's kind of like beside the point of the plot of the overall series. It's just like this thing going on. A strong recommend. A strong recommend from us. It is violent though,
Yeah.
a bit gory. Not for children. And that's really it. I can't think of anything else we've been watching. We did burn through that, but you know they're shorter episodes. That's all really we've been watching other than Rebel Moon.
Yep, just podcasts and audiobooks and stuff. That's really all I've been doing.
Any good audiobooks? Anything?
You know, I'm always listening to, like, I'm going back through the Dritz Do'Urden saga, so like the Dark Elf trilogy and stuff like that. And so I'm on, it'd be like the second trilogy in terms of that, besides the prequel, which was all like Dritz leaving home. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know this story.
Oh, the Dark Elf?
I don't think.
A drow?
You know what? I never read The Hobbit, so
Oh, all
you
right.
can't rely on me for any literary fantasy stuff.
I mean, like, there's a lot of. He's been around for a long time. I mean, I'm sure you've seen him, like images of him on the internet and whatnot. He's got the two swords and whatnot. He's got a onyx figure that allows him to summon a panther called Guinevere, and yeah. So it's a fun series, and the narrator is pretty decent. So
I heard somebody the other day listening to an audiobook, and it was totally just computer voice. And I'm like, how? How do you do
no,
that?
I couldn't do
That's-
that. Nope.
Yeah.
Rather read it.
horrible. So, yeah.
Computer voice isn't that good yet.
No.
Yeah.
No, it has no inflection or anything. It's just like flat and gross.
And I used to read them, but you know, like now most of my time is spent behind the wheel of my car, you know, like as far as
You have
dead
a
time
healthy-
goes, you know.
You have a healthy commute back
Yeah.
to and from work.
Half
That's
an
quite a
hour
drive.
each way, so it's like,
Right.
you know, if the audiobook is 8 hours long, then, you know,
You get through one almost a week.
Yeah.
Or a week and a half or so. That's pretty good.
yeah.
You know, that's how. Maybe it's not a good thing, but I'm clearly not like a pretentious person. Maybe I am. That's not the right word. I proved my point. But I feel like a lot of people read a lot by listening to audiobooks now. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Maybe there's probably a debate to be had around like absorption of material. Is probably different, but
There is, yeah, I think on, I just heard something about this where it's like, it's much more surface level if you're hearing it. You give everything the same level of attention. Like, it's just kind of like a baseline attention. Whereas when you read it, you control the flow and whatnot. So there are different things that you're going to absorb more because you give them weight.
I think
Right,
that
you're more
I am the
focused.
opposite. Sorry.
Oh.
I have attention issues, and whether I'm reading or listening to something, that's all I will do. Nothing penetrates. I might respond to people even, but I am not listening at all. I am totally focused on the one thing that I'm doing. That's how I do.
Right.
So, yeah.
yeah, that is a problem I've had since like for years now, working from home. If I'm just like, man, I used to put in so much wheel time that I would listen to stuff all the time. And when you're driving, it's not so bad because, I mean, your attention shouldn't be divided, but you can kind of pay full attention while still being aware of your surroundings, right? But if I'm at home and I'll put something on in the background and I don't know, I can't really edit much while listening to stuff, but I'm working on something. Maybe I'm doing some Photoshop or I'm just browsing the web or something or playing a game. I absorb so little of what I'm like, what's playing in the audio. Like I get so like focused on whatever I'm doing. So like audiobooks especially is my podcast listening other than editing and audiobooks took a hit when I stopped driving all the time.
Oh, sure.
But cool. And there's a bunch I should check out. I really want to. I guess let's get into it.
Okay.
I don't know why it was that voice.
Child
I'm a bit
fire.
baffled. We have like no reach anymore. Like we don't even get the curious. Like we've been going 10 minutes, and not to call it out, but like we don't even get the curious. Like, well, here's an eyeball. There's somebody watching for a second, and then bouncing out. Like we've had nothing. And I'm putting this to the Grawlix and EMC Facebook pages. It's kind of bewildering to me. Whatever.
Well, it's so many options on Thursdays at 8 p.m. because everybody.
Yeah, I mean, somebody could be, I don't know, hanging out with a couple of middle-aged men recording a podcast about movie reviews Thursday at 8 Central for some reason. Matty D.
Oh, yeah. He records on the night that we record.
Yeah.
What a move, man.
He is tonight. I know what they're recording tonight, too. Because he's trying to get me on the show, of course, and I want to be.
Yeah.
But, like, he's recording tonight, and then next Thursday. So, if for some reason Grawlix doesn't happen next Thursday, Randy's probably recording with Matty D talking about Run Lola Run. But
All right.
But I'm undecided about that. I kind of don't want to cancel Grawlix just to do that. But then again, any reason to cancel Grawlix is not a terrible reason. It's fine to take a week off.
You know what? Actually, next week I've got parent-teacher conferences. Some that may need to happen.
That works
anyway,
out.
So.
That works out. No episode next week.
All right. So you better enjoy us tonight with this Rebel Moon, because this is your Child of Fire.
Let's do it. Let's get into it. Let's get right into it. And I know this is a little outdated. I didn't take the time to update it. Maybe I will. I don't know. But it's been a while. But we got to kick this off proper.
Okay.
That's so stupid. Who made that?
It's back, baby!
Yeah. Snyder Watch. It's not DC. That's a little bit of a lie, but I haven't updated it. Yeah, here we go. I mean, I've been excited to bring back Snyder Watch, and I was gonna say, I didn't want to just rag on this movie. I don't want to rag on this movie. I want to watch a good movie. But I feel like we're probably just going to rag on this movie. So forewarning, spoilers. Spoilers for the movie too, but also spoilers on our thoughts.
I want to watch a good movie too. You know where I could find one?
No, not here.
Because this wasn't a good movie!
It was an outline, as I told Randy before, an outline of a good movie.
It was. There was a lot of promise there.
Yeah, if you just actually filled it in the spaces with like character development and, more purpose. I don't know.
That's like kind of the whole review for me in a way. This is an outline of a movie, which is kind of a thing that really bugs me. I touched on it a little bit when I mentioned Super Mario Brothers several episodes back, where it felt like it's just hitting the points of an adventure movie because that's what those movies do, but there's not like anything to really fill it in. This is that to the extreme. It's just like checking off like, here's the scene we need, here's this scene, and there's no like good connective tissue to get you involved.
And also, this is every genre ever, the movie. In space.
I should, based on the premise alone, it's Seven Samurai in space. That's what it is. It's Seven Samurai in space. Maybe a Star Wars movie, but Lucasfilm didn't pick it up, so it's just Seven Samurais in space. Just based on that tagline, that pitch, I should love it, and I don't. The Mandalorian has done this movie. They did this movie in an episode. It wasn't necessarily the best episode, but they did we need to gather a small team to come defend this farmhouse or this farm village.
Right.
And that's what this movie is, because that's what Seven Samurai is. And I like that idea of, taking the samurai or Western, tropey, cliched storyline and applying it to a Star Wars or future space type fantasy sci-fi setting. That's great. This is not great, though. This sucks.
Right.
And again, to really rail on, and this is my key point to rail on, Melanie's pointing out the outline. It's the getting the band back together movie or assembling the crew movie without any of the stuff that makes those movies fun at all. Right. Because a lot of times in those movies, part of it is, and it's also not necessarily stretched for a whole 2 hour and 20-minute movie and then cut off the actual climax of the movie and shuffle it to another movie. But the whole fun is getting introduced to these, they don't all have to be quirky, but often quirky or entertaining or interesting or intriguing characters.
Ocean's 11.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that's part of the fun. And then the other half of the fun is seeing how these different various motley crew of characters, how they interact, how they some of them gel, and that might be some fun buddy humor, or some of them don't gel. But the point is that's where a lot of the substance for these kind of movies comes from, is the interaction of this motley crew. And wildly, although we had the same complaint about the characters, Zack Snyder kind of did this thing in Army of the Dead or whatever, and did it slightly better because there were actually quirky characters, and you got a little bit of their interaction, even though it wasn't very good. But there's no interaction.
They barely got backstory.
What was it? The samurai chick? When they got her on board, it was there was a moment where I was like, wait, did they get her? Did they recruit her? I don't and then there she was on the ship. And I'm like, I guess they got her. I don't know why she's with them now. There's zero reason for her to be with them that I can see. Unless that's something that got cut, because
there's honestly zero reason for anyone to be there except for the main character chick, the totally not gonna double cross you guy.
You're right.
And the simple farmer who looks a little shady, to be honest. He doesn't quite... I feel the simple farmer would have been better as the Han Solo archetype or, character.
Yeah.
He didn't sell simple farmer to me.
He's a Wookiee.
He's
the Chewbacca.
You're right.
He seemed he seemed shifty, he would sell his own child. And also, I did not buy the love attraction there. She had way more chemistry with the guy that sold him out than she did with the guy that's supposed to be in love with her. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Right. That's such a half-baked, weird little... I don't know. Yeah, there was supposed to be some type of tension there.
Well, he creeps on her when she's sowing seeds on the rings of Saturn in a silhouette.
Yeah, so kind of.
I guess Snyder would probably sell this as it's an action film. But when most of your movie is just is assembling the band or assembling the crew, you need some character work. You need something.
And besides that, all of the action, if it weren't in slow-mo, would take 3 seconds and really not be very impressive at all.
Right.
And which is weird because they have a lot of actiony people. They should have done way more action than they did.
I will give him the benefit of the doubt on the action in that there's some cool moves that I would say would actually work. Right? Like some of the combat, like the stunt choreography or the fight choreography wasn't all garbage. But it was interesting what they chose to slow down and what they chose to speed up. Like she did like some cool fireman's carry throws and threw people in arm bars, and you're like, that's not stuff you're going to see on Star Wars. They're not going to take the time to do that kind of hand-to-hand combat in a normal Star Wars movie. So I did appreciate some of that, but then they would and then go into slow-mo for a whole thing, and it was like, you don't slow down Krav Maga. It doesn't help.
Right. I found a lot of the shootouts really not particularly intriguing. And I mean, the Star Wars kind of has the same. Did you say something?
I was just said the plasma was cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. I liked the effects of their version of the lightsabers. The one lady had those. I thought that was cool because they were very like smoky and stuff. And the plasma from the pew pews, the laser guns, was cool. It had that glowing plasma thing. This is not going well. Getting too casual. That was cool. But the actual shootouts, and I think Star Wars kind of has the same problems, especially when it's like, there's a bunch of people over here with lasers, and a bunch of people over here with lasers, and it's not the most compelling shootouts in a movie. I mean, I think you could make it more compelling, but it just kind of seemed like I don't know. That's not the easiest action to track. You know what I mean? Like, it's not super interesting, as opposed to like, the hand-to-hand type combat where, it's a thing. It's a little sequence you're watching. It's cool. A lot of times the shootouts, especially with lasers, you could kind of cut it into any order, cut any shot into anywhere, and it's kind of the same effect.
And did that dude have a bone?
Yeah.
Have a bone to pick with that. Like, what was Darth Vader wielding? Some kind of bone shillelagh?
Yeah, no, I was like, how tall was the person that they got this bone from? Because that thing's ridiculous, man.
Right. And sometimes it can cut a cable, and sometimes it's just a bat. He had the whole neat. I mean, like, he's just stealing things. He's just like, you know what I'm going to do right now?
Didn't it?
It did. It cut like a cable at the end, and I was like, how did it cut a cable? It's a bone.
That doesn't make sense. You're right.
And then he does the whole Negan thing at one point. It was like, well, that was anticlimactic Negan moment.
I like how a lot of movies do it. The bad guys always kind of seem very Nazi-ish. But it almost went a little too far in this one with him, with that main character. It was like kind of ridiculous.
All of them. It was super blatant. Like, Star Wars, the Empire they're the space Nazis. And it's obvious. But in this, it's just like, they're just Nazis. Their outfits are kind of like 40s-ish, 1940s-ish style. The people they cast have the very kind of Germanic defined chin and cheek line. Like, they just had a certain look. And then the haircuts. The haircuts all the way. Really on the nose. And that's also like, you could tell that he was trying to kind of ape the Inglourious Bastards, Christoph Waltz character coming into the small village and like the tense interrogation. But that didn't work for me because the people he was interrogating were just kind of so stupid. Like the father of the village or whatever.
Mm-hmm. The Viking. This thing doesn't understand if it's a Western, if it's a Nordic Viking movie, if it's Irish. It doesn't. I don't know what's happening here. Is it a fantasy where a little girl can turn a bird and bring a bird back to life? What is this movie?
Well, one thing for sure, it's racist.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it kind of is. Why'd they have to give the one chick the line about there's no honor in that? It's like, don't have her talking about honor.
Oh, no, I know.
You don't need to do that.
And then you've got the obvious Native American that can ride a hippogriff, but he's got to fall off so that he can jump back onto it. Avatar.
But he's not even, he's like Matthew McConaughey playing a Native American, you know?
Right. But he's also a prince.
Yeah. Yeah.
That taming the bird sequence for me had some of the cringiest stuff.
Yes.
Where they do the slow. First off, when he jumps to the bird and it hits that slow motion angle that Snyder's so proud of that shot. But then like when it flies back and the wing flies over the lead chick's head and she's like, oh, grabs the feather and it's like slow mo and it's like, no, what? No, I was worried there was gonna be a lot more of that. That was for me the cringiest moment.
Yeah.
And then they just leave the thing there. Mm-hmm. then it kills a guy, but then like, sorry, spoilers. We're gonna spoil everything about this movie, probably.
Yeah.
And then it just kills him, and then like that thing's dead. That thing is gonna die. Like I don't know.
First off, they're the worst like rebels in the history of time. Yeah. Everywhere they went, talking loudly, telling everyone their intention. They're gonna fight the mother planet or the what did they call the empire? Okay,
I think it was Mother Planet.
Just broadcast it to everybody, including like in that case, it works to their benefit that eagle, whatever that thing was, killed the one guy because he did not seem trustworthy at all, and they just blabbed all their plans to him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, they did it in that one bar too, when it had all kinds of unreputable people, including that like the little what do you call that thing that suction, like a symbiote thing that was using the human to talk. That thing, you can't trust that at all.
right.
Man. That thing was just using people to talk and then throwing them away.
Yeah.
Like that guy did not look like he was enjoying that at all. That was not. That was the worst kind of symbiotic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question. Maybe it's different when you read the script. When you read the script, but the Han Solo character, who from the moment he showed interest and then helped them, I was like, he's going to double cross them. He's that guy.
Well, it's like he's definitely Lando. He's the only one that has a ship.
Right.
He's Lando. And he's going to double cross him. He's going to have the Cloud City thing. He's going to bring the Imperials,
Yeah.
When you read that script, do you think it's not apparent, or do you think it's apparent and they don't care? Zach's not,
I don't
because
know.
it's so obvious. Or did you think that's part of the thrill? Like, haha, this is like he doesn't want the trope to be a surprise. He just like, no, it's a trope. Here it is, right from the first scene he's in. You know what this guy's gonna do. Like,
I'm an opportunist. Like he said it. He said the quiet part out loud.
Why would you not change that?
That's not character development. Hi, I'm the opportunist.
And then finally, like him and her are like showing a little chemistry, and he's like, but we gotta make a stop over here. I need to drop this stuff off. And I'm like, oh, here comes the double cross. And the next scene, here comes the double cross. And it's like, really? That's it? That's all you're gonna put into it?
That was the most believable chemistry that she had in the whole movie.
Right. Can I talk 1 second about, they're really cool looking, the little like scorpion looking things that grab them and hold them. They're really cool, but
oh yeah,
when you went to go like do the like air bolt thing to her, how did she get let out? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out too. Is like, so as soon as you take the bolt thing out, I didn't know if there was a button on the back that would release them.
No,
or
I
something.
think the gun. It's the air.
The gun is the key.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Don't think about it. It's not important.
Clearly
Does it look
not.
cool? Does it look cool?
No,
the things do. Yeah, they're real cool.
And I kept thinking, like, they're locked in. Why do you need to put it in the back there? Like what?
Yeah.
Why does there have to be a bolt gun? You just hit a button, boom.
Yeah.
Like it's already part of the Scorpion grabber device. Like
Right.
why do you? You've got
When they
extra
first-
steps.
When they first established that bolt gun thing, I was like, that seems so weirdly
It's so convoluted.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And archaic in this highly techno civilization, you know?
Yeah, I mean the contraption itself is this like fancy robot arachnid thing that'll like trap you and hold you up there and walk around, and
Yeah.
it's clearly has like 1,000 little moving parts. So like, why do you need to then bust out the
Could it
old
just
school bolt gun?
Crush you? Could it just crush you? like there
Yeah,
doesn't need to be
right.
a whole nother step.
But would that be as cool looking? Would that be as cool in the concept?
But I mean, I get it wasn't necessarily trying to kill him; it was trying to paralyze him. But even so, that makes it even more weird that they don't just like use it to like snap one of the vertebrae. You know what I mean? By like bending it. Yeah.
It's
so
it's
strange.
that whole Dr. Evil, Scott Evil talk where it's like, let's just kill him. I've got a gun. I'll go get it. We'll shoot him. It'll be fun. You know, like that whole part where Scott's like trying to be evil, more evil, and there's like
Yeah.
mini me.
Yeah,
and
Dr.
everything, and
Evil's
he's
like,
trying to-
no, we got to have sharks with laser beams, and we got to set up
Yeah.
this elaborate thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what?
totally
Why?
unnecessary.
Yeah.
I don't feel
So I
bad.
feel like,
Sorry,
go ahead. No, no,
I
no.
don't
I
feel bad,
have.
for any of the people that got shot in their planes either, because they already established that that big thing was there when it killed the other plane people. So why would you go then jump into a plane expecting not to get shot by that big thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end, towards the end there.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the bad guys hardly at all either. You know, like because her backstory is so convoluted and ridiculous. Like they killed my entire world. They Coruscanted me or something. But the guy, he saved me, and now I fight for them, even though they killed everyone I've ever loved or know or whatever. But now I'm one of them, and then I fell in love, or at least I'm encouraged to take a lover. But that guy died, so now I'm mad, and I'm really good at my job. So now I'm in charge of the princess for a whole scene, and who knows where she is? Maybe she died too. I don't know. But the king definitely died, because they say that over and over and over. And then there's ships.
They went
This
about
is a
whole
movie.
thing wrong. What they should have done is they should have spent half of the first episode being like, this is the world and this is the kingdom, and there was a king and he got a crazy special daughter and some bad stuff happened, and then introduce her and a little bit of their situation, and then they should have had every other episode be them going and getting one of these people and had an entire episode dedicated to each of them, and then the like finale of that season or whatever could have been the fight going down at the one place, you know.
But instead, she's hiding and farming, and then
Yeah.
they show up.
Because they want crops. They just want crops.
This is all about crops. They just want some food.
Yeah, but they were the only reason they needed crops was because they were going after the rebels. So really,
Right.
it's still Star Wars.
Oh yeah, for sure. So the reason we really got gung ho this week to talk about this is because Jesse, last week you had watched about 30 minutes. You only got about 30 minutes into it.
Yeah, I got that.
And you-
basically that farm planet bit. Like I got to that first showdown where she's going to be the hero again or whatever. you know?
Arguably, that's the most movie like this movie. That's the most like, hey, this might be telling an actual story.
Yeah,
that
that's
the whole
as
movie
linear
is.
as the whole thing gets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It's still extremely predictable and super cliche, but it is. Yeah, like, oh, there's characters. We're kind of getting to know a little bit of like the inner working, like the relationships between several characters.
Yeah, it's
None of
kind
that
of
really matters.
Also,
though.
kind of building a universe. Like oh, we're on this itty bitty little moon or world or whatever, but there's this big thing happening beyond, right? And then it just leaves all that behind, like the Anthony Hopkins robot, which is the only reason to watch this show.
I was gonna say, you didn't seem super excited about it based on the 30 minutes, but you were hyped about learning more about this Anthony Hopkins robot.
Yes!
And it is Anthony Hopkins, by the way. The voice is Anthony
Yeah.
Hopkins. I had to look it up.
That robot is damn charming.
That's why we watched it.
You were telling us about this robot, and we're like,
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins robot, sign us up. We're on
Yeah.
board. We're gonna watch this movie. Literally 30 minutes in, he pieces out. You don't see him till the final shot of the movie.
Yep.
He's gone.
Yep. I know. I kept thinking that we're gonna come back to that planet and like show us little bits of like, oh, what's going on while they're gone. Nope.
Yep.
Nothing.
I thought it was so funny. That was the hook for us and for you.
Yeah.
And they literally, like, he leaves the movie till the end at that point.
I thought he was going to be so much bigger. Such a bigger deal. Like, he had this cool, mysterious thing about him, and he's like a pacifist, and I haven't killed a man since the king died. Mm-hmm. Like, is this whole cool thing? And then is like, nah,
Right.
I'm going to hide. I'm going to run away. Something.
And the fact that it's a robot. He's so emotional. Like, that's interesting. When she put the like flowers around his head, I was like, "You're gonna get that robot in trouble." You not see how the soldiers treat him. He's gonna get in trouble if he shows up with a little daisy crown or whatever it was. But then, as Melanie said, he shows up again at the end, and Melanie goes, "Why he went feral? Why did he go feral? Because he shows up with antlers and stuff."
It just, I don't know what he's been doing this whole time. He's just out standing in the middle of a field. He looks right at us. It's like the most fourth wall breaky thing I've ever seen. He's just like, "Oh, you guys are back? I've got a new hat."
This is the hook for the next movie. Come back. I swear I'm in it.
I swear I'm in this next movie because this is what a waste of money to spend on Anthony Hopkins to never use him again.
Right. Yeah. What's that movie?
I don't know. I don't know what this movie was. I don't know what this movie is.
So the director's cut is supposed to be have an hour more material. But here's what I'm thinking.
Oh, good.
The fact that we get no interaction between the crew at all is mind blowing to me. That's what this movie's supposed to be. Like, how do you stretch out that the little setup of the village that needs saving, and then make the whole movie the getting the crew together and we never actually see them interact really.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling this hour of extra material from the director's cut probably still isn't them interacting. It's probably people standing in the rain in slow motion. Or I think Melanie maybe? Somebody said, grain falling in slow motion,
Yep. You just drop that grain slow.
Maybe I'm wrong, but if that's the case, don't put this crap out. Put out the actual cut that actually has the story and the characters. I feel like I'm wrong that that's still not what that is, but
there's no way that an extra hour just fixes the redonkulousness of how this movie ends either. It's like I don't know. I don't understand their spaceships. I don't understand their technology at all. Because, listen, if I'm going to drive my car down the highway, I'm not going to put the steering wheel on the outside of the car on the side. If it's okay, I've got a car, but I also have a sidecar. I'm going to get into the sidecar to drive the car.
Right. Or
that doesn't make any sense.
Even if you want to do it as a plane, you don't give the steering wheel to the gunner that's dangling out off the bottom,
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
That's the worst part. that rebellion was doomed anyway. If their leader, or they seem like a co-lead situation, but he was referred to as the leader at least once. The leader of the rebellion dies by a literal faceless goon, by a nobody, out of rage, and then only manages to kind of save the day because he dies and unintentionally falls on the gunner stick / steering wheel for the entire huge ship.
Flight stick in the gunner. I don't even know what you call that, but that's
yeah. No, it's nonsensical.
That guy doesn't fly. That's not his job.
They all should have died, by the way, in that scene.
Oh,
That should
yeah.
have killed all of them.
That thing should have just crushed everything. I didn't
Yeah.
understand why things were floating.
Yeah.
There's a buoy, a floating air space
Yeah.
buoy that the final fight takes place on.
Apparently
I will say,
everything's chained to the ground because it might fly away.
there's some. That's not to say there's not some interesting ideas. It is definitely like throw everything at the wall, throw the entire pan of spaghetti at the wall. But like the weird little creature that talked through the symbiote creature that talked through the real rough looking dude, that's kind of interesting. When they cut back to the bad guy after basically the movie's done, they cut back to the bad guy, and we're both like, no, he's not. How is he still alive? That you couldn't even see the ground from where he fell.
No, I know. He fell so far.
I will give them this much. I mean, it did seem like he was still alive, but maybe not. They mentioned something about brain. It's kind of that little twist sucks still, because I'm like, he was not that compelling of a villain. We don't need him to come back. Go on to the next big bad. He's just whatever. But they take his body in and then like open up the back of his head, and there's like a cyborg robot port back there.
They went Geiger with it, and they were like,
yeah, they jacked him into these tubes and put him in this thing, and then he like teleported virtual reality phone call with the big bad.
Astral projection via evil baby fetal tube.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, even if it was just they brought him back and they had technology to bring him back to life, that would have been lame. But the fact that it was this weird, like, he's clearly has like some robotic stuff going on, but at the same time, the current king, or whatever they call him, the big bad, threatened him.
Regent.
Right, threatened him with harm. So like, he's not just a machine who's not worried about like getting killed. He's somebody who that should be a threat to. I don't know. That was kind of interesting. At least it didn't go as really cheese as it could have. They threw, I don't know what those ideas were, but they threw interesting ideas there.
Well, they really broke the ice.
Right.
Just gotta hit the ground with a stick over and over and over.
What is that technology? It's very strange.
It's pseudo magic science.
They did establish like cyborgs earlier on in the movie, though. A couple, the Asian lady with the knife or the swords.
Oh yeah.
Had a robotic arm, and then
You're right.
Earlier on, even there was another person maybe in the bar that had a bunch of robotics attached to them. So that's probably, I guess, a thing in the world.
You're right.
Or the universe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. I was just a little surprised with the cyborg turn, and you don't expect to see like how much of his head is metal. You also don't expect to see, hints of tentacle.
Yeah.
I don't know what you'd call it. I don't want to say it on stream, but tentacle love. When he was like taking that weird body shot hookah thing, and then gets up and he's talking to the guy, and the tentacles like wrapping around him, and he's like, ooh, weird.
Yeah.
Huh, Zachy S. I wonder why Lucasfilm was hesitant to pick your project up.
Yeah.
I mean, if this would have went a little farther, because that's kind of the appeal of something like, I mean, it's different, but Andor, where it's like it's Star Wars, but it's like kind of gritty.
Yeah.
This feels like it could have been that. Like it's Star Wars, but
Yeah.
kind of gritty. But it's
I'm
not
not
really
s-
that gritty.
I'm not saying I actually want more of this, but also, like, this would have been better as a show. Like, if you had spent some time with any one of
Yeah,
these characters,
yeah.
I might care about them. Like the general, he seems like he might be an interesting character. I don't know anything about him other than what that was just told to me, because that is the crux of the problem with this movie, is that
Yeah.
we don't know anything about anyone ever. All we get is what we're told, and it's almost like told to us out of spite.
It's interesting. Well, that's because, yeah, fine. Zack Snyder is a terrible storyteller because he has no interest in telling a story.
Right.
He has no interest. The only thing he's particularly interested in is cool looking shots. As far as I can tell, like he doesn't care about characters and he doesn't care about the story.
I had this conversation with Holly tonight where I was like, listen, here's the thing about Zack Snyder. His best movies, somebody else wrote. He just adapted them.
It's true.
Maybe the reason that this is so disappointing of a thing is because it could have been such a good story if somebody made it a story.
I want to see that crazy hat samurai lady killing lots of spider people.
I liked her hat. It was
It's cool.
Kind of witchy and interesting.
Witchy, but samurai-y. Like it had.
did have like the
Rick and Morty anime vibes, you know?
right. Yeah, no, it was again, it's just so surface level. Like cool looking characters. What are they about? Doesn't matter.
Nah.
You think that's a spider lady from Who, and she like escaped and she's like, they killed my children.
You know, I did Oh, this is the sequel. This is the sequel to that Doctor Who episode with the spider lady.
Oh, the
the
Rachnos,
babies. I did have that thought. Like, I was like, well, at least she wasn't like looked better than Doctor Who spider lady.
I did. I keep thinking, like this is basically also a heist movie. It's that whole Ocean 11 thing, and it just makes me think of that Rick and Morty episode where it's just like Morty's just like, you son of a bee, I'm in.
Yeah.
And they just do that whole thing over and over and over. It was like,
Yeah.
man, that is this movie a little bit. And it made me think of that episode of the 12th Doctor, the Siege movie one, where it's like Clara and the 12th Doctor and then like a cyborg guy and then like a chick, and they were pretty cool. There was like this whole cool vibe to it. And it's like they did that better in an hour.
Yeah, in an hour, and actually completed the story.
Yeah.
That cyborg guy, he never came back. I wanted him to.
What, and they even kind of flirted with the idea that like, oh, you'd be fun companions or whatever. Like, like somehow Stephen Moffat gave us more in an hour than Zack Snyder did in 2.5 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Especially given that there's a director's cut that's like an hour longer, and this is only part of the story. I'm sure he didn't want to do a series. He wanted to do a movie. And if Netflix was going to invest that much money, did they release this theatrically? I know they usually will give like their movies a small theatrical release.
I've never heard of it.
I didn't hear of it either. Maybe they didn't. Man, how much this had to be expensive.
Well, they're waiting for everybody to start screaming for the Snyder Cut, and then they'll release that theatrically.
Right.
That was the game plan all along, I think.
Okay,
Maybe, I
this
guess.
is it is a lot of money. But
Had to be. It looks incredible. Do you see like the locations? If I have to give this thing its flowers, I will say that the locations are incredible. Whoever he has for set design, they're worth every penny, because
And I
there's
love-
like areas where I'm like, this looks like a subway,
I loved, like we could mention a couple times, the plowing scene. The lighting on that was perfect because it would be all indirect lighting from the reflection off of the of Jupiter or whatever planet that was lighting it, so it would be softer like that, like it was, and almost night, but not quite. And I thought that was great.
Yeah, it had I'm on the fence. Like it, the effects generally were really good. It looked, yeah. Snyder's a visual guy, and yeah, whoever he had doing cinematography was pretty good. The effects were pretty good. So apparently, the estimated budget for both parts combined it was 166 million, which of course is a lot, but not as much as I would have expected.
No, not for a space
Because
movie.
like those
Oh yeah.
those DC movies or the Marvel movies have outrageous budgets. But they also have a lot of big name actors. And
Yeah.
not to slight the actors in this did not have any big name actors, which is fine.
Except Anthony Hopkins, but he's only a voice actor in this.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it had a lot of people that I've recognized. I've seen them
Sure.
in other stuff.
Yeah. Titus
I
in
do not-
particular, I was like, oh, I've seen him before.
Yeah.
Right, and the main character lady, I can't think. Forgot it off the top of my head now too. I've seen her in several other things.
Chorus, Scargiver, Ethla, whatever.
Right, the double crosser. I've seen him in stuff. He always plays that type of character, so that's not a surprise. And the simple farmer is, I don't know what else he's been in, but if he hasn't been in other Zack Snyder movies, he's been in like every Zack Snyder movie. He just has that Zack Snyder look. He feels like the self-cast a little bit, because Zack Snyder has a similar vibe to him. I kind of don't like Zack Snyder's casting, and it's not necessarily all on him, but some of the casting, some of them were fine. The simple farmer guy, he seems so out of place. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, he didn't. He was in this, like, I don't know, rural Viking-esque. They had a friggin' longhouse or whatever. I mean, like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was like a Viking settlement, and that guy doesn't look like a Viking at all.
He stuck out almost as bad as she did, really.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I was guess she didn't look like a farm girl, but whatever. She wasn't from there either, so I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And that one boy, boy soldier, was too young to be a soldier, first of all. And he looked just like the one chick that was like the only surviving chick from the rebels that was with them. They looked like the same
Yeah.
person.
They did.
And what happened to that guy? Shouldn't he have come with them or something? Like, he's screwed.
Oh, he is. Dude, that was the thing. Like, I don't know how long they were gone. It didn't seem like that long, honestly. I don't know how long they were gone. But I'm like, there's no way they slaughter the entire, like, all the soldiers that are there, and they don't come back to just the whole village being burned to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised, actually, when they and they're like, you see that village? That's the village at the end. I was like, it's going to be burned down, isn't it? And they just didn't, if it is, they didn't get to it. I'm assuming it's
Right.
not.
Well, they had like so many weeks or something to get their grain ready, I guess. Maybe they didn't have communication set up with the soldiers between then and, they just
That could be.
assumed that they'd be fine because they have guns and whatnot. And they're all D-bags.
I was a little, I mean, it didn't really resolve anything. I was worried that there wasn't going to be any type of climax to the movie, that it was literally just going to be half a movie. That final scene, as bad as the whole setup in the double cross was, and again, since they didn't actually kill the bad guy, it is still just half a movie. That at least made it feel like kind of contained. Mm-hmm. Kind of. But, it's part one is in the title, so you kind of know you're not getting a complete movie going into it.
Yeah, at least they didn't just pull a straight up Empire Strikes Back kind of thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, this was Netflix's most expensive movie. Or most expensive movie of the year. Mm. They did do a limited run in December.
Are they regretting it?
I don't think so, because even though, what is Rotten Tomatoes? Not that means anything, but it's always kind of fun. No, Why would your Rotten Tomatoes link just link to an unrelated website? Critically is not good, right?
Oh my God. I can't imagine.
It's sitting at 22%. But apparently for Netflix, it's been a big hit. Audience score is 58%, which is still low, but not as low as the
It should be.
You're not as low as it should be.
Yeah.
Not to call anybody out, but when I log this on my Letterboxd, the general Letterboxd review score, like the average is 2 stars. I was like, I totally get that. Okay. And I was a little on the fence about what I was going to rate it, and I ended up knocking it down a little lower the more I thought about it. But I was surprised to see most of the people I'm following on there, I'd say the average score was like 2.5, 3 stars was the most of the people I follow on Letterboxd. And that was higher than I expected. A lot of people did not necessarily hate it. And I think it's because...
I think it's because we are thinking about it. That's the problem.
That's the thing.
It's like if we just watched this movie and never thought about it again, it's probably, it's fine.
Right, middle of the road.
Yeah. But I think about that
they're gonna
climax.
forget everything about it.
Yeah.
It is the kind of movie, the more I think about it, the more I dislike it. But also, like, people don't care about Seven Samurai, and I'm just like, Seven Samurai in Space could have been amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And this is not. They don't care about that. They also clearly don't care about, like, the fact that it's an outline movie where it just hits the beats and there's none of the connective tissue. Like, the reason those certain tropes are so popular is because there's been so many movies that did it before, and they were good movies, and they stuck with people. But it's like now they don't even have to do that. They just hit the tropes, hit the check off the boxes, and like it's the illusion of a good movie, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's enough for most people. And Melanie had said, we were talking about it earlier today, and she's like, well, I came to the conclusion, I was like, there is honestly probably a good chunk of the audience that watched this that's never actually seen one of the good movies. They've only ever seen the blockbuster outline movies where it checks off the boxes. This is what it does because it's supposed to. So as far as they're concerned, it's probably just as good as any other of this kind of movie.
Yeah. It was fun, so it's fine.
I can't even say, though, for me, that it's because people like, well, if too much character development, people get bored. They don't want to see a bunch of people just yapping. But like, I don't like the tone I had there. But but I can't even say this is a case of that because I was definitely bored during parts of this.
Oh yeah.
Like it's so long. Like I looked at the timer and was like, oh, thank God, there's only 45 minutes left. I was worried it was like an hour and a half still, right? But I still found myself looking at it and being like, oh, 45 minutes, okay.
Yeah, it really drags in the middle. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how they spend so much time not saying anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
It is a lot of that world building, and one you guys touched on it earlier. Like they do a lot of telling you the story. Mm-hmm. He does the cinema sin of telling, not showing, but he also does show while he's telling you, and it's still not compelling.
It's like the Stan Lee version of
yeah.
Like, oh, I know what his inner thoughts are, and now he's also going to do it.
Yeah.
Like her backstory, which she just dumps in one scene to the guy while they're sitting out at the fire. Like it's you see stuff happening while she's telling it, instead of you experience her backstory with her or whatever. Like you don't really experience it. You're just shown things from it while she's saying it in voiceover or whatever, and then that's it. Move on. And that's like how most of the world building is handled.
And before that, in the first half an hour, and the worst line of dialogue in the entire movie for me.
It's bad, yeah.
I don't know who this guy is. I just know he's like the surrogate father, brother, something, uncle character, right? And so he's like, he loves you. You should. What would that be like to have love? And she's like, I don't even know what love feels like, and I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Which is
no, this is the dumbest phrase I've ever heard.
and that's an inaccurate trash line anyway, because she said later that she's encouraged to find a lover and have a connection with somebody. So obviously that's not true.
Well, it sounded cool at the moment when Scott or whoever was writing it, because there were several writers on this, of course, but it sounded cool when they were writing that scene. Other scenes don't matter.
I still don't know what it means, though, either. Like, I don't deserve to love. Why? Because the one guy died? Or because this little girl that can save birds died? Like,
Maybe
what
maybe
happened?
Maybe that's why there's no
She's a
character
mass
stuff after
murderer.
that.
I
Maybe
kind of want her to be still alive and awful. There's like this part of me that's like, she
Yeah.
can bring things back to life. Like this evil guy.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of want that to be what happened. But, oh,
No, that'll be
that would be too interesting.
yeah.
Is
It'll
it? Go ahead. Oh, okay.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's gonna be something stupid and edgy. With like she's alive, but she's powering that machine that they use to bring back the bad guy because, and she's the daughter of the king. But the king's so evil, he uses his own daughter to power this machine. I don't know, something stupid.
But she'll still be eerily beautiful, and she'll be like trapped in a bubble, kind of like Mr.
Yeah.
Freeze's wife.
And
Yeah.
and if she's on screen, it's instant slow mo.
Oh yeah.
Don't matter what's
Yeah.
happening.
She's gonna be like a Minority Report.
Yep.
Like in a pool with a bunch of wires hooked to her. But is it? So did the bad guy like take out the king, and then a Senate took over, and so he still can't be the big bad guy that he wants to be because he was complaining the whole time about the Senate. And if I do this, then maybe they'll let me do whatever. And I'm like, well, you're like an evil general guy. Just go be the evil general and take out the Senate. If that's your ultimate power is your goal, you know, doesn't make no sense.
Star Wars has a Senate, so you've got to
That's
have a
the
Senate.
only way this is the same. Yeah.
That's political intrigue. If there's a Senate, right, and they talk about the Senate,
Yeah, but is that when the Empire is in charge?
it's all the time. The Senate is eternal. I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
No, there is a Senate. I don't know what it is.
There was a Senate, and then they turned it into an empire, and then they just never talk about the senators again in the original 3.
But there is.
It wasn't the one main guy or the big bad guy kind of the senator, or he I think they referred to him as the senator once or twice. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh yeah, Palpatine was a senator for a while, and then they gave him overarching powers and made him the emperor.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars is held together with duct tape and don't think too hard about it. Don't think too hard about it. And this can't even ape that,
Can't
right?
do it. Nope.
Maybe it needs some incestuous innuendo.
It really
Maybe.
does.
It really
Turns
was
out-
lacking that. Yeah.
It's a simple farmer and her are siblings, but they're only going to find out after they finally get some chemistry together.
That's why they have no chemistry right now. It's just like no.
They could be siblings.
They're
Well, no, I
siblings,
guess maybe not. Not full-blooded siblings. Now that I think about it, he's pretty white.
Oh yeah. Oh, there. Nobody needs a spacesuit either. Like no one
yeah,
needs a
yeah.
spacesuit at all. And that's what's also so appalling about the like ending of that ship is like, man, dude can just like break that glass with a spear. And
Yeah.
he's running uphill too. Like he's not getting a bunch of momentum. Like that's a pretty steep incline on that.
Not with
ramp.
those little baby
Just like,
steps he was doing.
Oh my god, yeah, no. Like there's nothing about this that made any sense.
That
No.
run was not good,
No.
which is surprising to me because Zack Snyder, some muscular dude like doing big lunges. That's his bread and butter. He loves
Yeah.
that. And like this guy's like baby step running up this thing. They must have been running out of time.
And
Really?
maybe I'm wrong because I don't fight, but the punches that the main character would throw, they did not look like they would be very strong punches. They were like she swung so wide, and then it seemed like it connected, but the guy was like, ugh. So maybe I'm wrong, but it didn't look very realistic to me.
just got to go with it. Did it look cool though?
Did
No,
it
it
look
didn't.
cool? I didn't understand her gun either. Like half the time her gun would only fire like almost like a revolver, right? And then she'd be a terrible shot too. I was like, what is the point of this gun then
Everyone
if it's
was a
not
terrible
good?
shot.
And then later in the big final thing, it's like a submachine gun. It's just like I was like, why weren't you doing that earlier?
But didn't you see it? Didn't you see the gun? How cool was it?
Oh man,
Dude, it was straight out of
so steampunky, you know.
that was straight out of like straight out of an anime inspired by a Todd McFarlane comic book or something. That gun.
For real, it's like Trigun or Full Metal Alchemist
Yeah,
kind of level
yeah.
stuff. I was like, man,
Yeah. And she probably was a bad shot because she was trained by the bad guys, and they're the stormtroopers.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fair.
All of those bad guys were in those little, or not the bad guys. All the good guys were in the little spider traps, and they were shooting. Why weren't they shooting them? Why they were immobilized? Why wouldn't they take them out right then instead of letting them get free and come and attack them? They're dumb and they're bad shots.
Probably a good thing we didn't have more of an audience for this episode. I'm sure somebody would have had to come in here with their opinions.
Y'all don't know gets about Snyder cuts.
Hesitant to say. It is. There we go.
They do.
What's up, Jasper? I think the color, the lighting, his lighting tonight might bring out the tint in his glasses more. Jasper, did you see Rebel Moon? We have to wrap up here soon, but did you see Rebel Moon, Jasper? I'll give him a second if he's still there. Also, it's just Jasper, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't know how many people will watch the replay and get this far. And I get it. I haven't made any movies. And I definitely haven't made millions making movies. Snyder's a hack. This is so bad. Like, he needs to be, I don't know, a cinematographer maybe, or something. He definitely should not be a scriptwriter, and he probably shouldn't be the director.
You should be a cinematographer or a photographer or a storyboarder.
Oh, definitely a storyboarder. From what I understand, although I should double check this, I've been saying it for years, but I guess I don't know for sure. From what I understand, he's a painter and he's pretty good. But that kind of makes sense with, like, I joked about, like, he loves slow motion muscles, but that kind of makes sense with, like, his fascination with muscly people, you know, physique and stuff. Like, painters like the human form and stuff. That makes sense. I could just be pulling that out of nowhere, but
Well, and a lot of realistic painters study musculature and stuff to be able to paint, and probably I'm assuming a lot of them get fascinated with it, like Da Vinci did, you know, and stuff like that.
I mean, he can definitely compose a cool image. The problem is when he's in control of the whole thing, it's just that cool images.
All of these fight scenes end in a movie poster.
Yeah, which should be great.
Right.
But there's not any of the middle stuff and I felt that way about his stuff since 300, and I like 300, but everybody loved 300, and I get it. It was kind of like stylistically, I don't know if groundbreaking is right. It kind of is with the slow motion technique that they used, the speed ramps, but it's felt so thin to me. I was like, yeah, it looks great, but like it's not there.
It's an adaptation of a comic book.
Right.
You know?
Maybe we should not spoil right now since Jasper hasn't seen it yet.
We won't spoil. Yeah, Jasper said he hasn't seen it yet. He wants to see it so bad. But he's heard it's a letdown. You'll like it fine.
Don't think about it too much though.
I think you might find it a little long, but I think it presents what you will be expecting. And it only has a couple of parts that are super cringe. The other stuff's fine. It's just like, you know, we just have different expectations, I guess.
It's a bunch of cool, totally disjointed things.
Yeah. It's potentially an interesting universe he's creating. It's definitely a lot of other universes duct taped together, but
That's why I love the first 30 minutes, because it was before they got off the planet, like I was just like, oh man, this is kind of a cool universe, and there's a lot of intrigue and there's a lot of potential for this backstory. And what is Anthony Hopkins up to?
Yeah.
I just want to be pals with that robot.
well, right.
I want to give him a flower crown.
He's just a robot of the earth
Yeah.
or whatever, living off the land.
Just
a robot.
hanging out by the creek. He's just going to throw some rocks in the water.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the dude of robots, you know? He just abides, man. He's like, this aggression will not stand, man.
Until he goes
They
and
make those
murders a
villains.
deer for his antlers.
Right.
They make the
Yeah,
villains.
that's true.
The villains are like comically evil for no
God,
reason,
yeah.
and not the main villain either. Like I get whatever.
Oh, those
I get
dude
what they're-
bro Marines or whatever. They were just like, oh, I wonder what they're gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonder.
Yeah.
I love Dune. I love the books, and so I love the movies because I love the books. I want them to go further, though. I want them to get all the way to what do you call it?
They're definitely not going to. I know the director of the current series. I think he might be on board for a third, but that's it.
Well, they should go all the way to the, what is it? It's like Lord God Messiah, you know, of Dune. It's the best.
I have not read the books, but I liked the first one. I have not seen the newer one. Is it out? Is Dune 2 out?
I think so.
I liked the first one, and I also liked the David Lynch one, but I seen it so long ago I don't remember a whole lot about it.
Fear's the
offhand.
mind killer, baby.
Yeah, yeah. And there is like a Sci-Fi Channel miniseries. I didn't care for that, but it looked cheap. Cheap can be okay, but not a TV miniseries. Also broke the rule. Oh, okay. You've been watching Doctor Who from season 1. Which season 1, Jasper? Because technically, I think there might be 3 season 1s at this point. Because they're calling the new stuff on Disney Plus is season 1. Like the next season starting here this year is season 1.
That's stupid.
Comic book, baby.
Oh yeah, reboot. Everybody loves a reboot.
I'm very curious about what season 1. If you say like the classic series season 1, you are not gonna make it. There's so much.
He's RTD era.
Perfect.
There we go.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
Just know that the budget's pretty low at the beginning. The budgets will get bigger. It'll look better, look more polished. And, you know, of course, that first season, all the seasons can be hit or miss from episode to episode, but that's a TV show.
I think
Yeah, stick with it.
That
There's
first season
some-
has some of the best episodes.
There's some
There were
great
good
stuff.
ones, yeah.
Yeah. That's the best thing to do. Start at the beginning of the new series. And then if you get hardcore, revisit some of the classics once in a while or something, but that's, you know, whatever. Everybody has to go ridiculous with it.
Yeah.
Well, this
Sometimes.
movie.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say this movie was amazing.
I was going to say sometimes Doctor Who is amazing.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
else is amazing?
What's amazing?
Your body. Okay. So
Thanks.
Oh, that sounded naughty.
Yeah.
Naughty, rock the body.
biologists,
Whoa.
okay,
I know.
so biologists at Stanford University have stumbled across what seems to be an entire new class of virus-like objects inside the human body. They're bits of genetic material with no detectable sequence or structural similarities to any known biological agents. Named obelisks because of the highly symmetrical rod-like shape formed by its twisted lengths of RNA, its genetic sequences are only around 1,000 characters long. So that small size is probably why we have overlooked them so far. But the Stanford group argue that it may not be related to viruses at all, but instead be new entities that bridge, or newly discovered entities, I should say, that bridge the gap between the simple and complex molecules. And searching through 5.4 million data sets, almost 30,000 different obelisks have been found, and different types appear to be present in different parts of the body, which supports the notion that they include colonists of the human microbiome. So, like, they just live in us by themselves without being brought by viruses or bacteria. Although we don't know what other hosts the obelisks live in, we assume that some of them are bacteria because we have found them, like a lot of them in the mouth and other areas where there is a lot of bacteria. So, we assume that they can live in bacteria too, and that's how they get to and from hosts. All of them contain a new class of protein named oblins, after them, that they think hold the instructions for their replication, but they don't really know yet. And they also have so far not been able to find any impact that they have on cells or bacteria or anything. They're just kind of chilling there. But, so there's a whole new thing that lives in our bodies and has been apparently for a long time.
It's got a symbiote. Eventually that symbiote's going to come out of us and then like use us so that they can talk.
I think they already do. I mean, there's more there's more non-human DNA in our bodies than there is human DNA. I'm pretty sure we are just one big giant symbiote that it uses to do whatever it wants, or they use to do whatever they want.
Yeah, there are a lot of weird things that live in us that it's not us, but it's all like always there, so it kind of is us.
Yeah, more than half of us.
We are Legion.
Yeah.
So there's something to think about. If you're a germaphobe, have a great weekend.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, great show, guys. This was stellar. Everyone missed it. They can watch the replay.
That's right.
Jesse, you got anything interesting or exciting or just something you want to tell people about before we bounce out of here?
Just always, always, always check out Humble Bundle.
Yeah.
Always. Humble, growlixpodcast.com/humble. That's a little redirect to take you through our affiliate link. Yep. Or Humble Bundle.
I want to say
Humble
right
partner.
now they have a cyberpunk tabletop role-playing game, which is a good deal. They have an audio bundle that is got some cool, like sound effect packs and whatnot that I'm like, ooh, I have a lot of these, but I don't have the Western pack. I don't have the Nordic pack. I don't have Hip Hop Volume 2. So there's that.
Yeah,
I think there was
some
like
interesting...
Terry Pratchett. Is that still up there?
I'm not seeing that.
Oh, Mega Man. There's a big Mega Man one right now. You can basically get all the Mega Man games for cheap right now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. There's
Who plays that competitively?
Huh?
Yeah.
Some comic bundle called Radiant Black in the Massiverse from Image. Some Image comic bundle. So
Massiverse, that's new.
yeah, I don't know what that is. I'm not familiar with that. But do it. Also, if you want to stream or record a podcast or do a webinar, StreamYard.com. You should check it out. You can start for free. We've been using it for literal years. In fact, the whole time we've been streaming, pretty much the whole time we've been streaming on Facebook, we've been using it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not remember it going well when we tried to stream without it.
No.
It's the first solution we came across that was like, yeah, okay, this works. This is good. Yeah, so check them out. All right, everybody. Take it easy, Jasper, if you're still there. If the body talk didn't
rock the body.
Everybody else, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Grawlixpodcast.com. It's GRAWLIX podcast.com. We're everywhere, although we don't post most places anymore. Social media.
We're everywhere except here next week.
Except
yeah.
here next week. No stream next week. Jesse's got stuff to do. I'm going to be talking to Maddie D. So,
Yeah.
most likely. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.